Hi all, my name's Eddie. I'm doing my vinyl tag of 2017, introducing myself to the community and showing off some items relative to the 20 questions. So without further ado, I'm just going to get on with it. I've got about just over 250 LPs and maybe 30 45s and maybe kind of 20 10-inch records. Have had more. I've got rid of, unfortunately, through various circumstances, I've had to part with various items over the years. So I'm kind of building back up a collection, and it's going well. I have a Riga Planar 25, and I'm using that with a Nautofon 2M bronze cartridge and stylus. Extremely happy with this. I've not had it too long. I got it from a friend for it was an absolute bargain. These retail not too cheaply, but I got it cheap, so it was definitely a worthwhile buy. Just kind of thing that required no hesitation. I've done some upgrades to it, made some modifications. Please indulge me on this. I'm extremely proud of this turntable. It's giving me some really good quality sound. I've done a subplatter upgrade, and that subplatter was made by Fidelity Engineering. From up north in England, and it was a bargain. I also added an Edwards Audio drive belt to that, and both of these things, the gyroscopic quality of the subplatter upgrade and the efficiency of the belt upgrade, just make everything, the timing and everything, much more precise. Using that with a Sansui GA700DB amplifier. Again, this is another acquisition from a friend, and it's something I'm really happy, again, really proud of. It's served me well. It's in fantastic condition, and I've only had to have it serviced once since I've owned it. Use that with Musical Fidelity XLPS preamplifier. I don't have to. This has got two phono stages in itself, which are great. But I was using the XPLS on an old NAD 300 when I was having some problems with the phono stage on that amp, which is my previous amp. I used this, and I just really enjoyed it. So I moved it over to this. So in my eyes, I'm getting the best of the amp and the preamp. So yeah, that's my setup. Yeah, there we go. I started collecting records when I was about 13 years old. I kind of was into music from an early age, which kind of brings me on to 4, which is one of the oldest records I own. From the oldest one. Well, let's say these two. They're both originals, but both my mother's, and I'm taking care of them now. Did have ELP Trilogy, but that is kaput. These are both pretty noisy. They're both well worn. We've played, quite intensely by my mother, and then subsequently myself. But I hope to, they're knackered, but I'll keep hold of them. I've already lost too many records over the years, so I'm going to keep hold of those. Number 5. Number 5. What's the first record you ever got? I think I was bought a bunch of records by my mother over the years, and I think 2 of them, the particular one she got me was kind of best of Jimi Hendrix record ever. But and that wore out. I haven't got it anymore, but she just got me that. Physical Graffiti by Led Zeppelin, which everybody knows. This is well worn as well, but it's hanging on in there. Yeah, bless my mum. She bought me a load of good stuff. The first record I ever bought. It's difficult to tell. When I started, I was at school, and I used to save up all my lunch money throughout the week, or any money I did get, any money I made or was given, and I used to go to a local store in Northampton, England, called Spinadisc, which was phenomenal. Huge store, 2 floors, and upstairs was just a hell of a lot of vinyl, and I bought CDs as well. I wasn't picky. When I was younger, I bought all kinds of stuff across all kinds of formats. But I always had an interest in extreme music, particularly black metal. death metal, mainly black metal. But this, which I'm extremely proud of, it's not the Death Like Silence release. It's not the first press, but this is the first My Xanthropy Records Simon Fane release, and this is Burzum's first album. It has the Oscar EP included, and it plays really well. Still, I look, it's a little worn on the cover, but I looked after it pretty well. It plays excellently after all this time. This is an important album for me, an important band for me, and I love it. I love it. It's a great album. I'm very proud to have that. So that was the first record I bought. Favourite coloured vinyl. Again, I'm not too crazy on coloured vinyl. I think I find it a bit of a muchness. But you know, when you do get one and it's beautiful, it's a bonus. Some people say that it makes, you know, coloured vinyl makes noise for a noisy record, but I'm not sure. But this is it's another metal record, black metal record. This is Cease to Live by Luro. They're a German black metal band, but this is probably one of the prettiest coloured vinyls I've seen. And when it's in motion, it's stunning. It's a very pretty album. It's a very good album as well. Some of the songs on this album have incredible riffs. I mean, it's not all killer, but it's certainly not all filler either. So moving on, Discount album. I've never really found an album of any kind of music that I like on it's been reduced or is, you know, as I say, on discount. But I am a fan of the thrift stores, charity shops, crates, you know, bagged bins, things like that. I like a bit of classical music as well. So I mean, one of the best finds I've had for a small amount of money was this Sibelius box set of the Kalervo Symphony in its entirety, which is nice. It's got a good box. It's got the original inserts, and yeah, everything's original in there, and it sounds really good. It's nice. It's, you know, it's not too bad. I think there's one blemish on there, but that was a few pounds. It's pre-owned, so I don't know about it being a discount, but yeah, it's the closest thing I've got. Prized possessions. Well, huge fan of this album and this band's contribution to black metal. This is an amazing album. This Manus and Ein Bloodred Man. It's a brilliant album. It's absolutely incredible. Recorded in a very haphazard manner. It's basically a combination of two demos that they did. They didn't have access to any decent equipment. They were using a third-party percussion software and didn't have the main version. They had a demo version which couldn't save, and they had a computer that kept crashing, so they had to program all the drums very quickly and efficiently, and then record it all in its entirety in hope that it didn't crash. They still managed to churn out an incredible album, as I say. So I've got both the demos on vinyl, but this is the re-recorded, improved kind of version, if you will. This is first press on Hammer Heart Records, and I bought this from the main guy from Forgotten Tomb, which are an Italian black metal band, and he was selling it, so I was looking for it, so I bought it, and I got a pretty good deal on it. He was a perfect gentleman about it. Unfortunately, the guy was involved in a serious accident after I bought this from him, which delayed the posting of it by a month and a half. But he's on the mend, so that's all important. But this is, again, it's a stunning album, and it's in beautiful condition. I have to say that the record is perfect. As you can see, it you know, for a record around 20 years old, it's absolutely bang on. Absolutely bang on. That's just one of my prized possessions. I have others. A record by a female artist. A few. But I think this one's particularly special, and it's a quality package. It really is. Joanna Newsom East. This girl is magical. This album's just her and her harp, and she's an incredible songwriter. She's got a very unique voice, and she's incredibly talented musician. There's a song in here called Sawdust and Diamond, which has probably got some of the finest lyricism I've ever heard. It's brilliant. Her vocal performance is unique and pinpoint, accurate. She's legendary. She did some stuff with a band after this, and the stuff she did before is kind of really kind of eclectic. It's almost metallic, not in sense of the sound is metallic. She's incredible range of the voice, but it's grating, but in a kind of a pleasing way. It's I suppose music for a sophisticated ear, but this album is magical. The artwork is beautiful as well. She's incredible, and I think any fan of any music should check this out. It's just amazing. It's really cool. Highly recommend it. Record by my favourite band. I've got a lot of favourite bands. I don't think anybody should have one favourite band. I mean, come on. But one of the most influential and inspiring bands that I've ever known and have liked for an incredibly long time is Dead Can Dance. And this is Within the Realm of the Dying Sun, which is probably my favourite album by them. It's a 180 gram version, and it's suitably dark. The cover image is dark. The music inside is dark, but it's stunning. It's a stunning album. It's orchestrated beautifully. The vocal performances, both Brendan Perry and Lisa Gerrard, are perfect. The atmosphere it creates is perfect. It's a close the curtains, turn out the lights, maybe light a candle kind of album. It's deep, and it's powerful. Just the sound production on it is phenomenal. If you can crank the volume, you'll be lost in it. It's amazing. Spleen and Ideal is probably the next one, and the live album Towards Within for me, my favourite, and then followed by Aeon. But this is my favourite album because it's the first one I bought by them, and they've just been huge band for me. I mean, way up there, really way up there. An Impulse Buy. Let me be blunt with this. I'm a member of a group on extreme metal music and anything else really. It's not so strict as some of the other groups, but the main kind of area focus is extreme music. And there's a guy on there posted this album. He didn't say anything about it, but I was immediately struck by the album cover. It's kind of a die cut thing. It's stunning. I haven't seen. It's like old school kind of album packaging. You don't see that much these days, really. But I'm pleased to say that these kind of things are coming back. Unique design in packaging. It's phenomenal. And that was an Impulse Buy. I didn't listen to it before I heard it. I listened to it a couple of times after ordering it. This panic. But there's a song on here. The second song on it is absolutely phenomenal. It's like the 90s. Kind of like condensed into a modern production, and it's a really solid song. It's probably one of my favourite songs this year, and it's full of riffs. This album, and it's good performance. It's a good production, and it just looks great. It's a good album. Some might not agree, I'm sure, but it is. Where are we? A gift. Well, a good friend of mine. Gave me a bag of vinyl. he was kind of downsizing his existence. Let's say he went to live in a community in Wales where they're self-sufficient, and he got rid of all his books, got rid of all his albums, he got rid of everything, and he gave me a bag of vinyl, which in there was some really kind of amazing pieces. But among them was this. It's the Swans KDE 112 EP. I'm a big fan of Swans. I've got most of their albums, not all, most of them on CD. But getting vinyl is really is difficult for Swans because it's so expensive. And this was just given to me. This was in a bag of say maybe 10, 15 vinyls, and it's immaculate. Absolutely immaculate. Yeah, it took my breath away. I opened that up, and there it was. And you know, I hugged that friend. So yeah, it's really good. I'm really pleased with that. And I was just given, as a gift. And most played record at the moment is this. I like soundtracks a lot, and I love orchestration. So, yeah, a Hannibal soundtrack by Hans Zimmer. This has got Vide Cormium on it, which is an amazing kind of faux classical operatic piece. It's a stunning piece of work. It really is. It's amazing. But fortunately, the rest of the album, the score is very strong as well, and it's it's intersected with kind of spoken word elements taken from the film. So occasionally you get this creepy narration by Anthony Hopkins going on. But it's stunning. It's a really good piece of work. And I was in my local one of my local record stores, and one. There's only 3 of note here anymore, which is a shame because we used to have a lot. We used to have a lot of really good stores in this town, but they're all gone. And this particular one specialises in kind of like techno and rave kind of vinyl and things like that. So I didn't go in there for many years, and eventually I did go in there, and he'd started stocking some decent stuff. I got a repress of Mayhem's first album there recently, which was good. But along with that, I got this. This is the reason I went in. I saw it through the window, and really happy to own it. Actually, it's a stunning album. It's really nice. So I'm playing that a lot at the minute, and it's sounding really good on because I've made a lot of changes to my record player, and I'm getting a lot of increased detail, and just like the timing of it and the response of it is incredible. So this is a really good album to kind of like capture those, higher, more refined frequencies. Really good. Where am I? There I am. Rarity. Well, this is a good one. Dredg, El Cielo. This album is an incredible achievement. If anyone's not heard it, I highly urge them to do so. It's post metal, post rock, but it's got so many different elements in there. It's modern prog, definitely, and it basically the amount of instrumentation on here is incredible. It's very varied. They're a drummer, vocalist, bassist, guitarist combo, but they all have abilities in other areas. So there's other instrumentation on here. There's cellos and pianos, and there's musical interludes with samples between the main songs, and it is a long album. But there is not a single dull moment on here. It is absolutely, from beginning to end, a perfect album. And the vocalist, Gavin Hayes, has a very unique voice of his own. I can't think of anybody else that sounds like him. The drummer's a very talented pianist, and the guitarist is a brilliant songwriter, and the bassist is like really good at sample and things like that. There's elements here. Like there's a woman on here, makes an appearance on here that sings very much like Lisa Gerrard. So you've got that going on, and there's just very kind of like deep, insightful references to thematic kind of elements and and obscure concepts. For instance, there's a lot of references to a specific Salvador Dali painting, and it's all juxtaposed with something infatuation with sleep paralysis, which it's bizarre, but it's a I call it a prog record, definitely a modern prog, but it's Dredge, El Cielo. It needs to be heard. It wasn't released on vinyl by Interscope, their label. I think it's Interscope. But so the band did it themselves. It's got no details. There's no label markings. There's nothing. It's just a self-produced package, and I love these old grainy photographs they use in it. It's really incredible. It's an awesome release. I love it. And there's very little colour info. There's some slight details. There's a booklet that comes with it, which is the same as the CD, but it's all line in notes from letters from people talking about sleep paralysis. There's a track list in the front, and then there's all these letters and doodles that people have sent victims, sufferers of sleep paralysis. And so it's bizarre, and there's weird little illustrations. It's incredible. It's really, really interesting. So the band had a couple of hundred of these made, and they're based in now. They're an American band. So they've had a couple of hundred made, and then released them on tour. I didn't see them on tour. Well, I bought this from a guy in Brighton. I'm not going to say how much I paid for it, but it was worth every penny. I love this album. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's in perfect condition. I love it. I love it. Rainy Day album. Monumentum in absentia Christi. This is a favourite album of mine. Again, it's an original press on the Misanthropy Productions. It's the finest hour of Roberto Marmella of Avant-Garde Records, or Sound Cave, mail order distro. I think he started Avant-Garde Records, so I don't know whether it's still run by him, but this was his band. We've got the Museum Hermeticum demo, which is great, but it's like gazing into an abyss. It's not black metal, but it's like post-punk with a kind of a gothic atmosphere, and just they even cover Fade to Grey on here. It's a brilliant album with an operatic twist. They've got a female vocalist. It's very operatic as well. So you've got a whole kind of melange of sounds, and all of them are dark. The vocalist has the drumming is really pretty cool on this. The drum production is amazing. It's cavernous, but the vocalist has got almost like a vampiric Nosferatu kind of sound to his voice. But at no point does it ever sound kind of cliched or it just sounds obscure, and it's a freaky album. It's astonishing. Unfortunately, this is probably the worst Warped album I own. It is absolutely horrendous. I bought it and received it in the post, and it's just like, it's absolutely phenomenal. I've listened to it once with a record clamp, and even then it was a bit too much, so I'm not going to put my cartridge through it. Fortunately, I've got an original press on CD as well, which I listen to, so that's fine. But I'm looking for another one, or I'm going to try and use my friend's record flattening machine, whatever. A feel good album. Yeah, man, I love this album. I love this band. This is the first one I heard, so it's my favourite. I like the subsequent album, and those thereafter. I'm not so keen on. I prefer the original lineup. I'm a huge fan of Tony Levin, but I prefer the original lineup. Definitely, the modern ones are, it's a different band. But the original ones. This is a recent re-release. I needed a new copy, and this is 180 gram. I bought it brand new, but it's not the most perfect vinyl pressing, to be honest. And I'm always on the lookout for another copy, so going to be doing that. But that's probably my, kind of really, 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 first class feel good album. a nostalgic record. Kate Bush, Hands of Love. This is the Audio Fidelity numbered edition, and it's 180 gram coloured vinyl, remastered for this release, and it's pretty good. It's not bad. It's an audiophile edition. This album was when I was growing up. My parents bought their first kind of hi-fi, like serious hi-fi, modern, 80s, early 80s hi-fi. And eventually they got this album with a handful of other CDs. I think they bought the first CD player. And this, I grew up in a house with this playing amongst many, many other sounds. My mother had some very, very, very broad taste. She liked prog, classical, Motown, and some kind of like more, modern stuff. And of course, this was modern at the time. So I grew up with, running up that hill and Hands of Love and Mother Stands for Comfort and Cloud Bursting playing in the house, and it affected me. Great, this is ingrained into my psyche and into my bone marrow. So it stands to reason I have it. I have another copy. I have an original pressing, but this is a good pressing. A Record Store Day record. I don't have any Record Store Day records. I participate in Record Store Day. I go to the record stores, but there's never really anything new stuff though. When they release it at RSD, kind of release it, they never seem to release the kind of things that I want. I tend to support my record stores, local ones, as much as possible all year round, not just one day. It just so happens I don't have an RSD release, so yeah, I haven't got one to show you. A recent purchase, Jen Dodd, Stinging. Really good album. Really good album, probably my favourite album that's been released recently. It's just full of riffs. The drum performance is amazing. Sorry, my cat's washing really loudly. It's just, the vocal performance is amazing, the drumming is incredible, but the guitar work, just the songwriting from beginning to end, this is a flawless album. It's absolutely phenomenal. So if anyone's into that kind of music, you should definitely check it out. Maybe skipping back to the end. That's it for me. Nice to meet you all. Thanks for sitting through this really, really long video. And thanks for watching. See you around.